organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Tonight on Daily Iowan TV, Think Pink, new breakthroughs in breast cancer research. Next.
In a rescue mission, jungle animal saved from the circus. We have the details.
Heating up, May temperatures have finally arrived in Iowa City.
A handful of former Iowa football players signed free agent contracts.
And Iowa softball has a chance to clinch the rivalry Cy-Hawk series.
Stay tuned for sports next.
Good evening, Iowa City, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Jeremy Meyer.
And I'm Alana Neal. With the Indiana primary starting Tuesday, the race is heating up. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump has a 15-point lead over his opponent, Ted Cruz, at the beginning of the day. Trump leads the 49% compared to Cruz, right behind with 34% and John Kasich at 13%. On the flip side, the Democratic race is a close one, with Bernie Sanders just 4 points behind Hillary Clinton. But overall, in the general election matchup in the Hoosier state, Trump is ahead of Hillary by 7 points and will most likely be the Republican nominee.
There's a new milestone in breast cancer research. Scientists in the UK say they now have a near-perfect picture of the genetic events that cause breast cancer. They collected data from looking at 3 billion letters of people's DNA in 560 different cases of breast cancer. They discovered that if 93 specific genes mutate, they can form tumors. Now, the study also turned up 5 new genomes associated with the disease. All of this information can lead to new potential treatments.
The cases of children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, has reached over 6 million cases in the U.S. 3 in 4 young kids are diagnosed with ADHD before receiving any form of behavioral therapy. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says time with a therapist should come before a diagnosis because it is a matter of expert opinion to diagnose the disorder, not a blood test.
North Carolina recently passed a bill that requires people to use the bathroom that corresponds with their biological sex, defined as the gender stated on a person's birth certificate. Texas could be the next state to try and enact the same bill. Daily Iowan TV reporter Zhao Li takes a look at how local students react to this development.
It is ridiculous.
Coming from a fairly conservative part of Iowa, Ash was born a female, but now identifies as male. And for him, bathroom legislation
isn't the battlefield against sexual predators. It isn't. It never has been. It's primarily just discomfort and this sort of preconceived notion that trans people are sexual deviants and therefore are more prone to that sort of behavior, which is ridiculous because they're not.
Another UI student, Sean Fain, believes people should have more understanding towards transgender people. And what's more,
and the facts simply are that there's never been any instances in which trans people have assaulted anyone in bathrooms. And so it's really sprouting from a place of hatred and misunderstanding of people that aren't actually violent people.
Both students believe the university and the Iowa City community should definitely have more gender-neutral bathrooms. Ash said he feels more comfortable using it because
I've been cornered and chased out of men's restrooms. One particular incident, like earlier this year, a guy followed me into the restroom and I was trapped in the bathroom stall for 10 minutes. Yeah, because he kept insisting that I was confused and I should get out.
Ash said gender-neutral bathroom is so much more convenient.
It's not that hard to do, and it's putting absolutely no one at risk.
So I find this gender-neutral bathroom on the 3rd floor inside the Iowa Memorial Union. Besides a bigger and more private space, there's really no big difference than a normal bathroom. Reporting inside the Iowa Memorial Union, Zhao Li, Daily Iowan TV.
Well, Jeremy, the weather was definitely gorgeous today. It's finally starting to heat up, and I really hope it stays this way.
You know, when the sun was out and you were in it, it really warmed your body. It was really nice. Let's toss it over to Becca Skadden in the weather studio to see if it will continue. Becca?
That's right, guys. It was beautiful out today, and
It may here in Iowa City, and the warm temps may finally be here to stay. Tomorrow morning, we'll start the day with temperatures in the low 50s and sunny skies. As we move into the afternoon, temperatures will jump into the 60s and the sun will keep on shining. Tomorrow night, temperatures will stay in the mid-50s with a beautiful night of clear skies. Taking a look at the rest of the week. Thursday, temperatures will be in the mid-60s with sunny skies throughout the day. As we move into the last weekend of the semester, Friday's temperatures will feel more like summer, with temps in the upper 70s and sunny skies. However, the clouds will move in on Saturday, and we're looking at a 60% chance of thunderstorms with temperatures in the upper 60s. Sunday, there will be a break in the storms, with temperatures resting in the 60s and partly cloudy skies. As we begin next week, we're looking at a 60% chance of thunderstorms on Monday, with temperatures still staying in the 60s. That's your weather, Iowa City. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, today is moving day for University of Iowa Studio Arts faculty, staff, and students. They're moving all of the equipment out of the Studio Arts building on Highway 1 to the new Visual Arts building on the west side of campus. It includes much more space than the old art building, covering 126,000 square feet of space. So far, there's no decision on what will become of the Studio Arts building. Classes are scheduled to begin in the Visual Arts building on May 16th.
Sometimes hobbies pop out of nowhere, and Daily Iowan TV reporter Taylor Brooks tells us how one woman has made a hobby into an all-year-round project.
12 years ago, an innocent project to help decorate a granddaughter's bedroom turned into a lifelong commitment for Melanie McNeil.
Just as a surprise, I'll make a quilt. And I thought, how hard could it be to make a quilt?
Turns out it wasn't even enjoyable at first.
It was incredibly hard, and I hated it, and it was a terrible, miserable experience.
The beginning struggles soon vanished as McNeil transformed her quilt making into something similar to a puzzle.
I'm a puzzle solver, and so when I look at a quilt or an idea for a quilt, I think, how do you do that? How do you go ahead and make that? And I go ahead and figure out all the steps to it.
Even husband Jim Rubush sees his wife's creativity flourish, quilt after quilt.
She's gotten to be very, very expressive and very creative and tries out new things and puts them on her blog and gets responses from people, and that's fun to watch.
Some of McNeil's quilts go to friends and family, but this one that she is currently working on is simply just for herself.
The real incentive for making this particular quilt was because I had this really beautiful blue fabric, and I bought it long ago, but it's a really odd fabric.
While this quilt remains in the works, many finished quilts lay on a bed, just waiting to be given to friends and family around the country.
This is for our youngest grandson. He's turned 5 in January. This was kind of an experiment for me in how I might use big prints. This is Jim's quilt. I decided to go even crazier and make a quilt for each of his siblings. Well, he has 8 siblings.
Reporting in Coralville,
it seemed like one just enormous, never-ending quilt project.
Taylor Brooks, Daily Iowan TV.
Hulu is working to offer a cable-like subscription service, and that's in addition to its current streaming services. The company is planning to introduce the service early next year, and it's expected to cost about $40 a month. Hulu is rumored to be partnering with channels like ABC, ESPN, and Fox.
Let the flames begin. The Olympic flame began in Olympia and arrived in Brazil Tuesday morning to kick off a 3-month torch relay around the country, all before the 2016 Games in Rio. Each torch bearer will run about 200 yards, and the journey will involve 329 cities and 12,000 torchbearers. The relay will end at the Maracana, Stadium, where the games open on August 5th.
Well, last night we got news about Iowa football's night game against Michigan being played under the lights. Now we switch over to basketball for an important opponent from the Big East.
That's right. The Big Ten and Big East have decided to face off again for the series of games called the Graphic Tip-Off Games. Katie and Colin are standing by, to tell us Iowa's lucky opponent.
Thanks, Jeremy and Alana. Iowa's Big East opponent is the 2016 Big East Tournament champions, Seton Hall.
The game will take place here in Iowa City on November 17th.
Some tough competition coming to Iowa City for the Hawks.
Yeah, definitely, Katie. It's always a tall task when you got to face a former conference champion.
For sure. Now bringing it back to the present, it was a very different NFL draft this season for Iowa players.
just 5 picks away from breaking the streak of Iowa players getting drafted, but luckily Austin Blythe got his chance in the 7th round with the Indianapolis Colts.
And let's not forget about those who signed as free agents, which happened to be quite a few.
Marshall Kane heads to the Miami Dolphins, Jordan Lomax to the other side of the country to the Los Angeles Rams, and Nate Meyer will stay in the Midwest with the Chicago Bears.
Both Jordan Walsh and Adam Cox will head to the Atlanta Falcons, and tight end Henry Krieger-Coble will go to the Super Bowl champions, the Denver Broncos.
Running back Jordan Canzeri will get a tryout with the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend and the New Orleans Saints next weekend.
And as of right now, defensive end Drew Ott, who has been the big story surrounding the Iowa football program, hasn't signed anywhere, but there are definitely some teams interested in Ott.
We will keep you updated as he progresses through different team options.
And while those guys are taking their next steps in their lives, there's one Iowa baseball player who has taken the step to be the head man of his team's lineup.
A lack of hitting in the front of the lineup caused a change, and I tell you how it's going.
With the team floating around the 500 mark all season, Coach Rick Heller took notice that the front end of the lineup was not producing like it should have been, so he decided to make a change. Iowa men's baseball coach Rick Heller noticed something different in his players. It was that first baseman Tyler Payton and center fielder Joel Booker were batting for better average in their non-traditional spots in the lineup, so he made the switch, moving Payton to leadoff and Booker to third in the lineup.
Yeah, he's done a good job there, and like we talked the other day, it just made sense because statistically, he's hitting like 489 when he led off an inning, or when he came up in situations like that, and Booker was driving in more runs, so just make the flip-flop.
The change in the lineup for the two players is one they are not used to, but Peyton and Booker do not seem to mind the switch.
Yeah, I like hitting in the 3-hole, especially since you're going to get more curveballs there, and I've hit the curveball pretty well so far, so I feel pretty comfortable.
My best stats have come from the leading off an inning, and so I'm very comfortable with the. I might not look like an identical or like a ideal leadoff guy, but I do feel comfortable there.
Peyton and Booker even have some friendly competition going on because of the switch.
I got wheels. Yep. Faster than Booker.
If he wants to think that, he can have it. He can be faster than me for a little while.
Reporting from Duane Banks Field, this has been Colin Murphy, Daily Iowan, TV Sports.
We will see if the switch continues to work as Iowa hosts their last non-conference game of the year Tuesday night against Western Illinois. We will have those highlights on Wednesday's live show.
Iowa softball will also get the bats going Tuesday night for the last Cy-Hawk Series game of the year against Iowa State.
With the win, the series will go to Iowa on the year as they are currently up 12-10. Great revenge after losing last year.
And what are the odds that softball wins, though? It's not looking too bad. Iowa owns a 32-29-2 advantage over the Cyclones in the all-time series.
Last season, Iowa State did get the win 5-4 at Bob Pearl Field, though.
We'll have those highlights on Wednesday, plus we stick with baseball and one player who got the attention of head coach Rick Heller through a subject line on an email.
And Katie puts us in the shoes of one Iowa track star. Alana and Jeremy, back to you.
The largest airlift of lions in history happened earlier Tuesday.
33 lions were rescued from circuses in South America and airlifted to a wildlife sanctuary in South Africa. The animals were rescued from circuses in Colombia and Peru just after the countries passed new laws to ban the use of wild animals in circuses. Animal Defenders International organized the operation with surprise raids on circuses in bad shape.
Some of the rescued lions have either missing claws, one eye, or broken teeth. The leaders of the jungle will be separated into at least 10 safe habitats at the sanctuary, where they will be cared for the rest of their lives.
Well, thanks for tuning in with us tonight on Daily Iowan TV. Tomorrow, we'll give you a closer look at another forum held by UI President Bruce Harold.
For more updates around the clock, check out our website, dailyiowan.com. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Alana Neal.
And I'm Jeremy Meyer. Have a great night, and tomorrow, may the 4th be with you.
Iowa SJMC.
Can't pick up a copy of the Daily Iowan? Are you worried about how you're going to find out about the latest news in Iowa City and the University of Iowa? Well, look no further. You can download the Daily Iowan mobile app on your iPhone for the area's best news coverage. And you can also read and watch us on your iPad. You can always find current and past Daily Iowan stories at dailyiowan.com. The Daily Iowan is now on TV, online, and in your pocket. If it happens, it's news to us.